All right, so you're checking out our Viper line, and perhaps you've come to a little bit of a roadblock because you saw there's so many different kinds that you can choose from. There's the HS, the HSLR, and the HST. Well, depending upon your application that you'd like to use it in, that can help determine which one is right for you. So let's talk that over a bit. The biggest difference that you're going to find between these, and the most obvious physically, is the different turret systems. So let's take, for example, the HS to start with. Now, the turrets in this case are both capped, elevation and windage. And what that does for us is it provides protection for our turrets. So again, this is more of a hunting scope that you'd use that you can carry around quite a bit and not have to worry about bumping your turrets, something that's more exposed like this. You don't have to worry about bumping and potentially shifting your zero. This is more of a set it and forget it type scope. It's not something you're going to take to the range and dial up and down all day, every day. That's maybe where you'd go into something with one of these more exposed turrets like this, or like the HSLR or HST. In this case, what most people will do is they'll zero their rifle scope and they'll cap the turrets and then use the BDC reticle in the HS for holdovers if need be. All right, now moving over into the HSLR, you'll see that the difference, or the big difference, is that we've now exposed the elevation turret. We've still remained with a capped windage turret, and that just has to do with the fact that this is kind of a hybrid shooting, long range, and hunting rifle scope. It tends to be really popular with a lot of our Western hunters who shoot at longer ranges or have more expansive distances to shoot at. They maybe get into more long range shooting, and they're not necessarily like a Midwestern hunter who doesn't always have the opportunity to see an animal beyond 100 yards, for example, because they're in so much timber. That might be more well suited for an HS, but the HSLR is one that can be dialed more with the elevation. And primarily most people are dialing their elevation turrets usually because that's really where your bullet is going to see the most change. Wind certainly does have an effect on your bullet, and that's something you need to account for, but most of the time when you're dialing is going to be the elevation. And so now this is a lot quicker to get to, and also with an exposed tall turret like this, you get more available elevation adjustment for more accounting for longer range shots. And so that's one of the nice features with the HSLR if you do think you're going to be getting into some more long-range shooting and dialing. Now, one of the other things here is we have the 6-24x50 HSLR with us. And this is actually a first focal plane rifle scope. Now, the nice thing here, and it really complements the turret system very well, is we can dial our elevation and use our center reticle on any power, but we can also on any power dial our elevation and then just hold for wind on the Christmas tree style reticle. So really this capped windage turret we almost never have to even touch once we've zeroed the gun, because we can just dial our elevation, and because we're on first focal plane, we don't have to consciously think about what magnification we're on. We can just hold using one of the dots for wind and make our shot. Bumping over to the HST, now you'll notice that both the elevation and windage turrets have been exposed in this case. Now, exposed turrets on both sides really just make them really easy to get to, very fast to get to and dial. And again, you just get more overall adjustment out of a tall exposed turret like this than you would have a short capped turret. So the HST is really one made for dialing very frequently, both elevation and windage if need be. Now, another nice feature this has is the VMR1 reticle. So you can get it in MOA or MRAD, and as we know, once we get into kind of the long range shooting, people start having their tendencies as to whether they go to MOA or MRAD and their preferences. And so you can get either one of those in the HST. But the VMR1 reticle is really convenient because it provides more information than you'd get out of a BDC turret, which our HS has, or our 4-16 HSLR, for example. We can use this reticle on its calibrated magnification and use that to use holdovers, spot for other shooters, range targets, and make corrections while we're out shooting. So it really becomes a great shooting, long range, or recreational shooting, even some competition shooting optic that one can get. And it really doesn't have too many crazy bells and whistles on it for a tactical or long range scope, but it has everything that you need to get the job done. So hopefully this helps, and as always, if you have any questions on any one of these specifically, please let us know, because we're always happy to go in more depth on each one of these scopes. But now at least you know the really big things that make these different, and hopefully that helps you make your choice for your application.